Hello there, hello YouTube.
That painting right there, that's a copy of a painting by a guy named Manet. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how. Because them French painters, man, they had some weird names. Renoir, okay, Monet. Now, why would you call somebody Monet if it's Monet? Listen, the biggest thing, okay, here's the deal. I think that the biggest thing that this spaceship could do is to allow us to see the afterlife. What the fuck are you talking about? The biggest problem we have in this existential human experience is death. We know life. We know life. We know life. We don't know after death. Now, I believe that this spaceship is highly developed so much that they can observe the afterlife within the solar system. Shut the fuck up, man. What the fuck did I just say? What did I just say? What did I just say, man? Well, that's what we need to know, man. These guys ain't gonna get out of the fucking spaceship and start talking about the prop. I mean, they know all about Christianity and all about Judaism. They know all about that. So they have a belief system, but we don't know what they think about our belief system. But the fact is, okay, you ever heard of a guy named Prince? He wrote a song named I forgot what the song is, but oh Let's Go Crazy. So at the beginning of the song, Let's Go Crazy by Prince, he says that the afterworld, he doesn't say afterlife, he says that the afterworld, that in the afterworld, you could always see the sun day or night. Now, what the does that mean? Now, that would lead me to believe. One time, I actually saw Prince. I saw Prince in about 1992 in a Buddhist bookstore in West Hollywood. He was in there just with his bodyguard, and when I walked in, so I walked in, and I would have been. So when I met Prince, I walked into that Buddhist bookstore called the Bodhi Tree in West Hollywood. And I walked in there, it probably would have been 92 or 93. So I would have been 23, 24 years old. So when he looked, now here's the deal. He just had one bodyguard with him, and there was nobody around him. Why? Because he was in a eclectic bookstore. He wasn't in Walmart. If he would, if I would have seen Prince, if I would have seen, okay, let's just make it funny. If I would have seen Prince in Starbucks, he wouldn't have had one security guard. He would have had a bunch. But I saw him in a quiet Buddhist bookstore. And the only people going in there are people who are interested in those kind of religions and those kind of religions. And obviously Prince was. Now, when he looked at me and I looked at him, I didn't say anything. Why? Because I didn't have to say anything. Because he's looking at me and he's going, who the fuck are you? Okay, Prince is in the Bodhi Tree bookstore. He's in the Buddhist section. He's in the section that I always go to. I'm a 23 or 24-year-old Englishman, and I'm in Los Angeles, and I came to Los Angeles to study Zen Buddhism. So this guy is looking at me and going, who is this guy? Why? I, I didn't feel, I didn't speak to him because I didn't want to make him uncomfortable. But and he didn't speak to me. But he gave me a look as if to say, who the fuck are you? As if to say, I'm. Why? Because the word in the early 90s, the word Zen Buddhism wasn't as popular as it is today. I mean, at that time, it was still very popular, but it's just become more and more popular. So Prince, in my mind, is looking at me and going, now who the fuck is this guy? Why? Well, first of all, I'm an Englishman. Do I look like an Englishman? I don't know. I am. So I'm an English. So he's looking at a 23 or 24-year-old Englishman, okay, who's interested in Zen Buddhism. He's looking at me as if to say, you're fucking bright. He didn't say anything. We didn't. Why? Why didn't we say anything? I didn't speak to him and he didn't speak to me. We were in the section of the library for a religion that emphasizes silence and the ability to communicate beyond words. So Prince looks at me and he must have thought to himself, what the fuck? Why? Because first of all, I showed up. He's in a quiet section of the Buddhist bookstore, and suddenly, just a young guy walks up. But the guy walking up to him was a fucking huge fan of him. I didn't tell him. I didn't say anything. In the 80s, I'd listened to his music all the time. So in my mind, we didn't speak because we were having some kind of Buddhist connection. We were having a connection with one of the big major religions in the world. And Prince was interested in that, and I was interested in that. So he must have looked at me and gone, this guy's probably, he would have looked at me. I was 23, 24. How old was he? Maybe 35, 40, I don't know. But I was about, but when Prince became popular, I was just about 18. I was 17, 18. So he literally was looking at one of his Purple Rain disciples right there. And that Purple Rain disciple never spoke. And he never spoke. I was a big fan of his, but we both had an interest in Buddhism. Now, what the heck was Prince doing over there? Well, Prince must have had some interest in Buddhism, because that was the Buddhist section, okay? Now, at that time, I was a practicing Zen Buddhist living at the Zen Center of Los Angeles, which is where I came in March of 1991 after I lived in Honolulu, and then before that, I left. I came to a meditation center in Bar Harbor. Then I went cross country. Then I was in Berkeley. Then I worked on a pumpkin patch. Then I went to Honolulu. Then when I came back from Honolulu, I was in Los Angeles. It was spring. It was the Zen Center of Los Angeles. And the palm trees were very, very tall and beautiful. So I meet him, and we never spoke. But in that silence, there was more. Because you see, in Zen Buddhism, you don't speak. In Zen Buddhism, if somebody asks you a theoretical question, you can slap them on the face. Let's say they have these Zen koans, which are stories from Chinese and Japanese Buddhism, which really developed Zen. So Zen came from India through Bodhidharma, and Bodhidharma went to, I've forgotten where, I think he went to China. I'm not sure, but that's where Bodhidharma was. So the reason I mentioned Prince earlier is Prince said at the beginning of Let's Go Crazy, something about there's something else, the afterworld, a world where nobody could ever see the sun, or a world where everybody can see the sun, day or night. So when you call up that shrink in Beverly Hills, you know the one, Dr. Everything will be all right. Bye. Okay? Listen, I believe that there's some area that people go to when they pass away, and there's some area that people come from before they're born. Now, Prince called that the afterworld. Let's call it the afterlife, okay? 3I Atlas is going through our solar system, and it can see the afterlife around our planet. Where is the afterlife? The afterlife has to be in the solar system. So these guys could probably see it. Now, so surrounding the area is all this, like throughout the globe, Jesus comes to people in all these different ways. So Buddhism is a kind of a different religion. Buddhism is like sit down and figure it out yourself. But people have conversion experiences with Christianity that is not as prevalent in Buddhism. Okay? So, three I okay, so that means that the afterlife is within our solar system. Now, it's probably not that far from Earth. We can't see it because we can't see that. Now, these guys can see it. That means that those guys can look. They can look at they're in the solar system and they're looking at the fucking afterlife. They're looking at Jesus. I mean, they can see, and then they can see all the spiritual stuff. And it doesn't matter what religion you are. It's not, for example, Hinduism. Okay. Hinduism became Buddhism. Okay. Judaism started Christianity and Islam. So Judaism is the source of the greatest spiritual inspiration of the world. Because Buddha was not as influential as Jesus was, because Jesus influenced the most advanced part of the world at that time, which was Europe and then eventually America. So, why? Now, in India, okay, the difference between, let's say, India and England, okay? I've lost my train of thought. Okay. It's just about time to wrap up. So, the biggest mystery for human beings is death. It's a mystery. We don't know if we've lived before. We don't know if we'll live again. And when we die, we don't know what's going to happen. 3I Atlas came into the solar system. It can see the afterlife, the afterworld. That means that it could have an image of souls going back and forth from the... Where is that? It's in a spiritual plane. So they can see the spiritual plane that we can't see. That's the big mystery. What happens where did we come from? And where do we go when we die? 3I Atlas knows that. Now, if they could somehow reveal that to us, that would be the biggest thing. That would be the biggest thing that they could do. Now, are they going to reveal God? We don't know. We don't know if they believe in God, but they know that people live and die, and that they have a lifespan of a certain amount. And when they come in here, if they're that advanced, they can see our afterlife, which means they can come into the solar system. They can see the physical world and the spiritual. That's the mystery right there. If they reveal the afterlife to us, we would see thousands and thousands of souls dying and being born, dying and being born, connected with an afterlife that physically you can't see, but spiritually you can see it. These guys are so spiritually advanced. I'm sure they can see everything. That means they can see the place that we come from before we're born and the place that we go to after we die.